Good day, everyone. It's good to be back again, another day. I hope everyone is doing well. Please subscribe, like, and share. Let's get to 100 subscribers. And I thank everyone who's been engaging me on the comments. I'm really happy and encouraged. So today I'll be discussing the comeback of Bibi. Bibi, for those who don't know, is the Prime Minister, now the new Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. He's not new to the game. This is his sixth time. And first of all, I'll start with talking about how I thought the last election, when they appointed the government of Pete, it was like I thought like Netanyahu career was finished, but because there was also a corruption case that followed him, and I thought his career was finished. But then again, he just made a comeback, and I have to give it to Netanyahu. I think this guy is a survivor. This guy is very smart. He understands the Israeli political system. Somehow Israel is not done with him. The Israeli state is not done with him. It seems they need him. Probably how Netanyahu used to handle things, and they put the government of Yalip, or this former government, probably how they used to handle things. They were used to Netanyahu because he was there 5 times. And then when the new government came, I think they overpromised. They tried to run it like a business, an executive, a more democratic, more liberal government. And I think that probably what we were getting is that Israel is a liberal, but with the appointment of Netanyahu, it seems that Israel is very conservative. And if you see the people who are backing Netanyahu are hardliner. In fact, it's being called the most far-right government in the history of Israel. Because, for example, his security minister, Itamar Ben, is, he was, his organization was banned in 1994. Someone from his organization went and killed 29 Muslims. He's been accused of being racist, being extremist, and now he's the one who's going to handle the security policy, the internal security, because he's the head of the police now. There's another guy who also was involved in some extremism in the Israeli politics. He's now been appointed to oversee the education system in Israel. And there's a lot of cry from the LGBT community and all these communities that feel that going forward that the Israel state will not be accommodating. It will be highly conservative. And then there's other person, I can't remember his name, but he was accused of transporting more than 200 gallons of fuel to try and ban government infrastructure, so as not to allow Palestine to move through Israel. So these are the people that have backed Netanyahu back in power. They are very hardliner. They are very hardcore. And in fact, when Itamar Ben, the security minister, was appointed, there was outcry all over from Jordan, from United Arab Emirates, and all these countries that he has always been a very nasty person in the eye, very vocal against this other state. So it will be interesting to see how Netanyahu manages this one, because I think this was a very desperate win. Let's not forget Netanyahu had a case of corruption in court, so he needed to get back in the game, and try and put things to slow things so that he can, when he's the prime minister, he can try and influence the court. And you can see that even immediately, immediately was sworn in, they showed their plan for the government. They aim to enforce a law that ensures that Supreme Court judge rulings can be overruled by the parliament. And then they aim to ensure that doctors, teachers, businesses, can serve people based on their sexuality or religious beliefs. So that means if you're an LGBTQ, a doctor can say he's not treating you and you can't take him to court. A teacher can say you won't come to this school. Those are the kind of laws that are there. And the big one is that now he has declared that Israel will take all the Golan Heights. So the dream of a two-state solution seems that it will never happen, because the aim was for the two-state solution, when you look since Clinton, Bush, and Obama, was that Palestine will take 92% of the area and Israel will take the other 8%. But when Trump came in, Trump dissolved that, that idea, that policy, because because most of the people living in those areas are Palestine. So Trump dissolved it and made that the whole Golan Heights are territories of Israel. So Netanyahu, being sworn in, has ensured that his first priority is to ensure that he annexes the whole territory. In fact, his sworn in coincided with the UN resolution that has been passed, that the case of the Golan Heights has been taken to the ICJ to interpret if Israel is allowed or has any legal authority to do that. And the Prime Minister has openly criticized the ruling, the resolution that was voted by very many countries around the world, has criticized it and says they will not respect it, there is no way to enforce it. So there is fear that this might be the most right-wing Israeli government. Probably even it will be harder to work with it, because it seems that it's going to put the interest of the Israeli nation at paramount, regardless of the other neighbors or whoever. And when this news of the Golan Heights came, even the king of Jordan, a person who's not very vocal, was very vocal, and he said, there are red lines. You need to understand there are red lines. If you start doing this, then we won't accept even us. And also, where does this put the Abraham Accords, which were signed under President Trump, to normalize relationship with UAE, all these Arab countries, Saudi Arabia? Where does it put the Abraham Accords? Will the Abraham Accords crumble, like the Iranian deal? But it's very interesting, because when he became prime minister, MBS called him. They talked with MBS. For those who don't know, MBS is Mohammed bin Salman. And since last year, apparently Israel and Saudi Arabia have had, have had a no tax custom duty on their goods. They've signed a deal where their goods between them will not be taxed. So it's very interesting that Mohammed bin Salman still called Netanyahu. What I think is that Mohammed bin Salman is trying to take Saudi Arabia a different direction, in terms of he sees that he needs to make as many allies as he can, because he needs the support of the neighboring environment. Let's not forget, Israel and Saudi Arabia have an issue with Iran. So also this could be bringing them closer. And the first trip that Netanyahu is going to make, and it's going to be this month, he's going to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. This is his first trip. And one would ask why, or I would ask why, but if you look at other president, Israeli prime minister, they first go to America, they are the strongest strategic ally. But going to the UAE means that Netanyahu wants, probably, after the backlash of what the far-right people he has elected, the story about the Golan Heights, he wants to go and assure these partners, these people that, they came together, that don't worry, everything, we will look after your interest. We are not that radical. This is politics. We need to say certain things. We are not that radical. We still have your interests at heart, because I believe that Netanyahu still values the Abraham Accords and sees them very valuable. So probably this meeting, the first UAE meeting, he sees these neighbors, UAE, Saudi Arabia, these Arab countries, as very important and strategic allies, in terms of, if he can get the support of these Arab countries, then I think he can leave a very good legacy, and he can also show the people of Israel that he's a guy of work and transformation. Let's not forget the 5 years, the 5 times that Netanyahu has been in power, Israel has become a technological powerhouse. In fact, Israel technology now competes with Germany, without this country. Israel is the leading in terms of software engineering, in terms of computer science. It's one of the leading countries. So probably the next phase now of this of Netanyahu ruling is that he can now bring other investors into Israel territory, and also Israeli can now invest in other countries. And we and we all know that the Middle East is full of good money, a good economy. So he feels that relating with these people first, is his first line of defense. And for the Palestine, I don't know. Uh, Things are they keep getting worse, and when you think things are getting better, it seems that things are becoming worse and worse and worse. Because the two-state solution that Donald Trump had offered, I think, for me, I don't know. I felt that the Palestinians could have taken the deal, probably not even wholeheartedly, or even try to negotiate, but refusing because the Trump's government had offered them land in the Golan Heights, and and they were supposed to be given a certain amount of money. The economy was and the economy was supposed to be invested, and they were supposed to be integrated, and later recognized by the United Nations as a country. And you see them not doing that has now even bought a more right-wing government, a more that doesn't even care about, it seems, that doesn't even care about the human rights of the Palestine. It's Israel first, to put Israel back on the map. And it's very interesting. It will be a very interesting scenario to see how it goes. Other leaders that congratulated him were Joe Biden. Joe Biden congratulated Benjamin Netanyahu. He expressed his happiness, but you say that the American government still believes in a two-state solution. So if you can read in between the lines, like he's telling Netanyahu, I know the government that you represent is very right-wing. You can't go saying all these things that you're now going to take over territory. You need to remember that the American government supports a two-state solution. Let's not forget it was Obama and the Biden government that abstained on the issue of annexation. When you remember that in the Obama administration there was a UN ruling that wanted to condemn the annexation of the Golan Heights, and for the first time in history, America didn't vote in favor of Israel. It abstained, and this made the Israeli people to be mad. And even if you remember, when Obama was leaving, there was very, very heavy tension between him and Netanyahu. Netanyahu didn't like the guy. When he was leaving, there was tension. They didn't like each other. And it was very interesting. And even at that time, the Secretary of State of Obama, John Kerry, said that he was telling the Netanyahu government, this is the most right-wing Israeli government, and if Israel is not careful, it's going to even get more right-wing. And we can see it now that it has even become more right-wing. Another president who congratulated him was Viktor Orban. Viktor Orban is a very interesting guy. He's the president of Hungary. He also congratulated Netanyahu, and he said they are looking forward to work together. Viktor Orban and Netanyahu, they are very good friends. They seem to enjoy each other company, because I believe they have the same style of managing politics. Also, Viktor Orban has been president, has run a couple of times, like the same way like Netanyahu. Viktor Orban is the face of Hungary, the same way you see Netanyahu as the face of Israel. He has run a couple of times. He has won election. This year he won the election again. Netanyahu has won. So they have been very good friends. Their style of leadership is very, very similar. They are both conservatives. If you look at how Viktor Orban governs, and Netanyahu, it's a very conservative way, going back to the roots, Hungary first. If you look at Israel is the same. Even if you look at now the European Union, how it's going on with the Russia-Ukraine war, Viktor Orban seems to be forging a different path, having his own mind, sometimes not even accepting what the European Union resolutions, or, not accepting or voting against some of the issues. So it's a very interesting scenario. Another person that congratulated Netanyahu was Putin. Yes, you didn't hear wrong, Putin. And the Netanyahu government, in fact, called Russia before it called Ukraine. So this also, I think, sends a signal how this government is going to be approaching the Russian-Ukraine war. Remember, the Lapid government was very democrat. It criticized Russia. It supported Ukraine. But this new government seems to see that they need Russia. And why would they not? Why will Netanyahu reach out to Russia first? Not to Putin directly, but to Lavrov, the foreign minister of Israel reached out to Lavrov, but also put out a statement congratulating Netanyahu and saying that he looks forward to working together. My thinking is that Netanyahu understanding the geopolitical game, Russia is a very big player, so he needs to not make Putin an enemy. Let's not forget Israel is involved in the Middle East, in Syria, in Palestine. Israel has issues with Iran, and Syria and Russia has friendship with all these states. Russia controls the biggest territory in Syria. So if Israel wants to maneuver its bombing campaign to fight terrorist groups, militia, it needs the approval of Russia, because Russia controls the airspace with missile defense systems. The issue of Iran is trying to sign a new deal. Russia and Iran are good friends. Russia can influence Iran in other issues. So Israel is looking at those things. How can the Russians, can help us also to influence Iran, probably to, so that we don't get a bad deal out of this new nuclear deal that they are planning. The other country is Palestine also. The Palestinian people are seen as oppressed. Russia has good relationship with the Palestinian people. So when you look at this, Netanyahu understands the geopolitical game. Ukraine is also a good ally, because Zelensky and Netanyahu, he congratulated Netanyahu. But at the moment, I think Netanyahu is being realistic. He sees that he needs Russia more because of the Middle East power play that's playing there between China, Iran, Russia and America. So he feels that to control that area, he needs to integrate or try to show Putin that he comes in peace. And anyway, it will be interesting to see how the new Israeli government policy will go from now on. Already there was some protest in Tel Aviv on the appointment, because the talk is that the new Israeli government is about to do drastic change to the system, to the constitution, and it's trying, they even planning to change the curriculum, the studying curriculum of books, what students will study from books, no more LGBTQ, the curriculum will be based on Jewish traditions, Jewish respect. The other government had tried to withdraw history and the Bible from classes. The Netanyahu government plans to return all that. So that I think they are trying to build a purely Jewish identity. They feel that their people have been losing that identity, and they don't want them to lose that. They want to retain that identity, to save that identity, so that Jews can be unique. Anyway, they can show their uniqueness, not to be like anybody else. And it will be interesting to see how Netanyahu continues to play this power play. Will he survive? Because remember, the other prime minister just came in the other day, this year, and is out. Will Netanyahu survive? The demands of Israel now are very high in terms of the population, inflation, after the COVID, the Russia-Ukraine war. So there's a lot that's going on that I think Netanyahu won't have an easy job. Remember, he still has a case, although now he has appointed his friend, one of his friends, to be the Minister of Justice, and we can interpret how that's going to happen with the case. And I'll just keep an eye and give you guys a heads up. And that's all for today. Thank you guys. Please like, subscribe and share. Road to 100 subscriber. I'm really excited. Thank you for all those who've been supporting. Till next time. Later. Ciao.